Hello, Flosstube. It's me, Amber. Thank you so much for joining me again today for video number 2. And I'm really excited to be here. I wanted to, I'm going to go really quickly during this first part because I don't want this to be a super long video. I've got a lot of things I want to do today, but I did want to say thank you to everybody so much for commenting, liking, subscribing, all of you. I didn't think I was going to get a lot of feedback on my first video, but you guys have been so welcoming and so kind, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really meant a lot to me. And I wanted to shout out a few people that I've been watching a lot of. Tiffin Stitches, I love you. Can we be friends? I really, really like her, all her stuff. She's wonderful. I just feel like her and I have very similar personalities, and I feel like we'd get along really well. Addicted Sisters, another, I also love you too. You guys are great. Y'all are so funny. I crack up when I watch you. I don't know. It's just, I could just sit there and watch you two talk to each other all day. So who knows why? I love you. I've also been watching Gulf Coast Stitcher. And Misty Purcell, I love the way you change colors and things and make them your own. They're really inspiring to me. And then Jeannie Schwartz, I've been watching a lot of you too. And so thank you to all of you who gave me good suggestions. Gulf Coast Stitcher, I know you gave me quite a few of these suggestions, and they were really good ones, so I appreciate it. For those of you who suggested people for me to watch, I do appreciate that. I wanted to do a few things today. I'm going to do Know Your Needleworker really quick here. This is the third time I've filmed this video because I keep rambling and getting to like 20 minutes before I even get to my my WIPS and everything. And I've got a lot of stuff to show you guys today. So I'm going to do Know Your Needleworker quickly, and then hopefully in the course of my next Flosstube videos, I'll expand a little bit on this stuff. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. I will answer them. I don't get a ton of comments yet on my videos, so I've got time, and I will respond to you. So, all right. Where do I live? I live in San Antonio, Texas. I was born and raised here. I lived in Arkansas for a little bit when I was in college, met my husband there. We moved to Lubbock for a little bit, and now we're back here, and I love it here. I do love to travel and get away from here and from the heat, but I do love it here. It's home. So for a living, I'm a nutritionist. I have a private practice. I'm a functional nutritionist. So that means I work with a lot of people with health conditions, and the goal is to get to the root cause of those health conditions and approach them from a nutritional perspective to try to bring about healing, improvement of symptoms. I work with a lot of people with autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and thyroid issues, weight loss difficulties, all that kind of stuff. So that's really a passion of mine. I write a lot about it. I have a blog where I write articles about nutrition, and then I have a Facebook where I give a lot of, I do a lot of videos on there and update progress photos of my clients and just talk about nutrition and all that stuff. So if you're interested in any of that and you want to learn more about nutrition, I'll put a link in the comments below. I also, as part of my practice, I carry a line of healthy beauty products that don't contain, carcinogens and hormone disruptors and all that kind of stuff that's damaging for human health. I'm not going to go into a lot about it here, but there is a major problem with a lot of the makeups and things that you'd find at the drugstore, the department store, and what we in the United States allow in our products. And as women, we're putting that stuff on our skin every single day. And we're consuming it as, lipsticks and things like that. So it's a big issue. It's an important issue. And so I carry a line of products for that, and I'll link that below if you're interested in that. And if you have questions about nutrition or any of that other stuff, you can contact me through my Facebook page or what have you. So that's what I do for a living. And do I have any children? No, I do not. That's definitely on the horizon. We're getting to our 30s here, and so, that's definitely in the future for us, we hope. And I've got a room which is now, just a hellhole. of just all my craft stuff that I don't want to display, but eventually it'll be a nursery. So excited about cleaning that one out. Planning to have a garage sale at some point. I do have pets. I have 3 pets. I have 3 dogs, Lulu, Elsa, and Peanut. Lulu is 8. She's a Bichon. Elsa is 7. She's a Chiweenie, half Chihuahua, half Dachshund. And Peanut is 3 months. She was, my aunt's dog had puppies, and she offered one to us, and I couldn't say no to a puppy, and she's a red Dachshund, and she is a handful. She likes to bite right now, so that's been fun. Yes, we love Peanut. We really do. But she's a lot. So we're like, why did we get another puppy? But it's been fun. So love my dogs, and they're my babies right now. And my other hobbies are, of course, knitting. You know that. I've talked about that before. I love to knit, and I actually have some knitting projects, some previous finishes, and some something that I've been working on for several months that I'm going to show you. So just a little bit to show you what I like to do with knitting, and I also love to read. And so, yeah. Favorite movies. I don't like to be nailed down to one single thing. So I have to give you a list. So my favorite movies are Forrest Gump. Love Forrest Gump. You've Got Mail. Are you sensing a theme? I love anything with Tom Hanks. I don't know what it is about him. He is the most ordinary looking guy, but he is just so magnetic. He's charismatic. I love him. I love you, Tom Hanks. And Under the Tuscan Sun, that's with Diane Lane. You know, not like the highest quality cinematographical movie in the world or whatever, but I just love that movie. I could watch it over and over again, and I do. Every time my Wi-Fi goes down, because I have a Fire Stick, so I can't access TV or anything unless I have internet, which the internet goes down here quite a bit. Anytime it goes down, guess what Amber's watching? That's right. Under the Tuscan Sun. TV shows, I watch The Office on repeat. I have a rotation, actually, so I don't really like to watch new stuff. I'll add in a new show here and there, and I really like it, you know, like to watch shows that are supposed to be really good and all that stuff, and I enjoy it. But I like my old favorites. They're like my old friends, you know, so I watch, I do a rotation where I watch The Office, I watch Friends, Gilmore Girls, and there's a show that not many people have seen it. It was only on for 3 seasons, but I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It's called Happy Endings. So I watch those. You know, I also really love like Golden Girls and Boy Meets World and all that stuff, but my favorites are The Office, Friends, and Gilmore Girls. I rotate those. So, by the way, Gilmore Girls fans, I'm Team Logan. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but Logan was the best boyfriend. He was like the best of both worlds. He loved her so much. He always like did everything for her. Anyway, Team Logan. So, books. Jane Eyre, a favorite of mine since I was a young woman. I still am a young woman, but since I was a girl. Pride and Prejudice, anything by Willa Cather. I love all her pioneer-y stuff. Death Comes for the Archbishop is my favorite. And Mrs. Dalloway was a favorite of mine in late high school, college. So I love those. And music, I don't know. I mean, if you would have asked me this like 10 years ago, I was all into what we called at the time indie music. So Death Cab for Cutie was my favorite band until they sold out and were on the Twilight CD. Nobody really cares about that. But yeah, they were my favorite. I liked several other bands from the same genre, but I don't keep up with new music now. I don't really have time for music. I listen to a lot of NPR, or I listen to the Latin stations on the radio because I know Spanish and I try to keep up with my Spanish, and listening to Spanish music is helpful for that. I listen to the regular radio. I don't really like what's on there, but hey, it's something to listen to. I got too many crafts in my life to be carrying and keeping up with music. But yeah, I guess you could say I'm eclectic. So sorry the camera's shaking. I bumped my camera with my foot. Lovely. Yeah, one word describes me. Confused about what word to pick to describe myself is what word describes me. I don't know. You guys tell me. I asked my husband, he was like, can we hyphenate? And he goes, pretty, funny, intelligent. I was like, thank you. That's really sweet. Aw. But that's not helpful. So yeah, I don't know. This is me. So thank you all for, hopefully those of you who are still watching are, you know, like my personality and will keep watching me because I get a kick out of doing this. So I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, I'm trying to remember that I'm talking to an audience here, but really, let's be honest, sometimes it's just you and you're just looking at yourself in the selfie mode of your camera and thinking, this is weird. So yeah, all right, let's go ahead and do some cross-stitchy related stuff. But first, I want to show you some previous finishes. So I have to show these off. I love to knit. I knit a lot of things and I make up my own patterns. And I like to mostly knit like clothes and accessories and home decor and things like that. But I also really like to make dolls. I don't have anyone to give them to, but I like to keep them because I love them. I think they're cute. So I created this pattern for myself of these little characters. Here they are. Oh no. Stay together, guys. These little characters. And I also have a fox, but I gave him to my mom because she loved him. This was the first one I made. I don't know her name, but isn't she cute? You can see her. I'll put her up to the camera. She just looks sad. I bought, oh no, her little hair came out. I bought these little glass eyes off the internet. I think on this website called Glass Eyes Online, which is a helpful title. And I made her little dress and stuff, but I wanted to create a doll that was small enough that I could knit it up pretty quickly, and but large enough that I could do something, like do fun things with the outfits and everything. And I had this plan, and I still do have this plan in my head, that eventually I want to make, you know, a lot of them in different, you know, different animals and things like that. And then maybe, and make clothes, you know, a line of clothes for them and everything, and sell the patterns online so that people can make them. And, you know, there'll be a whole little set of characters and stuff. So, I still plan to do that. This is the bunny. I love the little floppy ears. Hello, bunny. And bunny has, all I've done on here is the little jacket. I haven't, done the rest of the outfit yet. And then this is a lemur. I don't know if you can tell that that's a lemur, but hey, I don't know. I thought it was cute. And he also doesn't have clothes yet. He's naked. But I don't know. They're just cute. The fox is cute too, and I love them. My favorite one's the little girl. Her hair is made out of mohair. So I just wanted to show y'all that because aren't they cute? I don't know. I love them. So if I ever get around to it, I will finish out the other characters. I have plans for an elephant, you know, for a little boy, a whole, you know, slew of characters. And I want each of them to have like little outfits to change into, but they're all the same size so they can all interchange the outfits and all that stuff. Anyway, cross stitch. You guys remember this? Remember this? Happinest. I have to say, happinest describes the pattern very well, does not describe my experience creating the pattern. Happiness would not be the word. I mean, it was fun. I'll be honest. It was fun, but it was hard. It was probably too big a project for my first real cross-stitch project since like 7 years ago. I got bored. I got real bored. I watched a lot of Flosstube. while I was working on it, and a lot of people were saying that they get bored with projects that are a little bit bigger, and so they do that. That's why they do a rotation. So I started a rotation with some other things, but then I couldn't help but feel like I really want to finish this, and just, I felt like I wanted to get it over with, and I hate for that to be what I felt like. So maybe I need more things in my rotation. Any of you who have issues like that, let me know what you do, because I'm always looking for techniques and tips. But I think my mistake with this one was that, it's so cute. It's really cute. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's adorable. But I don't know that I really love it for me. Like, I remember when I first saw it thinking, it kind of looks like a menorah or something, honestly, which is like not a bad thing or anything. It doesn't look like a tree to me. And so I love the birds on it, and that's what I was drawn to. But the tree itself, I wasn't like crazy about. I thought it was cute, but I wasn't like in love with it. But it was the first thing I laid eyes on by Satsuma, and I was like, I loved the colors and everything, and so I just immediately bought it. Well, then when I saw all the other things that Satsuma has, and especially the dog park, I was like, ooh, I like that better. I want that. But then I had already kitted it up and bought everything for it and started it, and I don't want this hobby of cross stitch to be like my knitting hobby where I start things and don't finish them. So I was determined to finish my first project to start things off right. So I finished it. I'll show you. It is done. Yay! You can see all of my mistakes. I don't know if you can see on camera, but there aren't many. For example, here I accidentally added half a stitch in the whole thing, and it was like off by half a stitch. Like, I outlined it so one side is like half a stitch higher than the other side, and but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, for my first cross stitch pattern that I've done in several years, I think I did a pretty good job. I learned a lot of like new techniques by watching Flosstube and things like that while I was doing it, to kind of keep the back of it cleaner, to not carry my threads, to just like different techniques and things. And so I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the way it turned out, and I actually really like it now that it's done. I'm like, oh, it's really cute, and I'm looking forward to putting it on the wall. It's gonna look cute in here, because you can see this is my upstairs living room. It's like a den kind of thing, and I'll show you around sometime, but it's very eclectic. I've got a lot of like Native American themes, African type patterns. I have a lot of bright colors. It's almost a little bit beachy even. So this is gonna look cute in here. It's got a tropical kind of vibe. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I made a lot of mistakes on it. I fudged up quite a bit, but the good thing about this pattern, and why I'm glad that I started with this one, is that it was kind of easy to keep going even though I fudged it. I didn't have to frog the whole thing, which was good. So what I'm gonna do with this, excuse me, what I'm gonna do with this is, my brother-in-law is really into woodworking. And he just, him and I have kind of been, he lives here in San Antonio too, and we've been kind of in contact about the possibility of me finishing some projects and maybe him framing, because he has been wanting to learn how to do frames, and he always wants an excuse to buy some new tool for woodworking. So he bought all the little, I don't know what they're called, routers, I think, to cut like the edges of a picture frame into different shapes and things. You know how when you go to the store and you buy a picture frame, some of them are like the straight, some of them have the beveled edge, and some of them have kind of like the curves and all that stuff. So he has all the little tips on the router to make those. And he's going to frame it for me. So I'm going to put it up against some foam core board, put some batting on it, and sew it in the back so that it's all ready like that for him. And then he is going to take over and frame it for me. So when it's framed, I will show you again. Happy nest. I love it. I'm really happy with it. You know, I can be a little bit critical of stuff. If I had to go back in time, or if I could go back in time, I would have probably started with a different project, something smaller. As many a Flosstuber has said before to newbies. But you know what? I did it. I had fun doing most of it. I loved all the colors. I loved doing the birds. I hated doing the branches. I hated it, hated it, hated it. But I would say the overall experience was positive. Positive with a little anxiety thrown in, as I'm sure many of you can relate to. So that's Happinest. That is done. Holla. Hallelujah. I showed you all Gertie the goat. So I've gotten a little bit more done on her. I'm sorry, I've moved into WIPS now. Works in progress. So this is Gertie the goat. Now with Gertie, you could probably see, you know, I didn't do this right on the back. So because there's so much space between each of these little French knots here and between all this here, I just wasn't about that life of like doing this little thing and then tying it off and then coming over here and do it. I carried the thread. I mean, this is a tea towel, guys. It's gonna go, I'm probably gonna use it to dry my hands after I wash them in my kitchen. So, or maybe I won't. Actually, that sounds bad, doesn't it? I don't want to get it dirty. Maybe I'll just look at it. But anyway, I don't need it to be perfect. But I did get a fair amount more progress done since last week. I finished off these flowers on the top. I don't know if I had done that. And then I started the little flowers on the bottom. The blue flowers, I realized I forgot this one right here. So I'm going to have to put that in. But it's almost done. And I've decided, so what the pattern calls for are like these little, I don't know if I have the pattern. Oh, it's way over there. Sorry. It calls for these little kind of like lazy daisies in like a cross shape in these circles. And I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do it on the outside too. And then on the inside, I think I'm going to put my name, Amber, in these little boxes. And it should fit pretty perfectly in there. And that'll just kind of personalize it and make it fun for me. And yeah, so that's Gertie. And she's almost done. I'm definitely going to finish her this week. I got really, really like obsessed with finishing Happinest and was working on that almost nonstop and barely gave any attention to Gertie. I think I spent like 30 minutes one night doing a few of the flowers and stuff. I could probably finish her up in a couple hours if I just sat down and just devoted my undivided attention to her. And I had planned to do that yesterday so that I could have a couple of finishes for today's video. But yesterday was my little sister's bridal shower. And so I'm the maid of honor and I was busy doing stuff for that and didn't get as much done as I wanted to on the stitching. So I was working, you know, I've been working on the other item in my rotation, which is Lovebirds by Country Cottage Needleworks. Where are you? Country Cottage Needleworks. Lovebirds. Sorry, I should have taken that out of the package for you. And this is my progress here. I'm doing it on a little bit different color of fabric than what is called for. I think what's called for is slightly darker because the white is not showing up quite as well. Like you can see this has like a little, you know, thing with a flower here and it's hard to see even from just here. So the white's not showing up quite as well. But like I said, this project I had bought to do alongside a friend of mine who I work with that I was trying to get into cross stitch. And I bought her, I kitted it up for her and everything. And update on that, she still hasn't picked it up. So I guess maybe one day, I don't want to say anything bad in case one day she does decide to start cross stitching and decides to start watching Flosstube and she'll see me on here calling her out. But I guess I wasted my money on that. But you know, you win some, you lose some. It's hard trying to get people into a hobby. You know, with knitting, I used to teach lessons and, you know, I enjoy teaching people, but, I don't know what it is. A lot of people just don't want to learn. They kind of dismiss crafting as if, you know, it's not for them and they could never do it. And they don't want to put in the hard initial work to where you get to a skill set that's workable and you can make things. But to me, that's the fun part, is learning and experimenting and getting to where you're good so that then you can enjoy doing whatever you want. I love the fact that I never have to feel limited with knitting. You know, I can make my own pattern up. I can follow a really complex lace chart. You know, I just bought this book. Those of you who are knitters, it's called Japanese lace stitches. I don't know. I can see it over there. I'll have to show it to you some other time, but it's the most beautiful book I've ever seen. I saw it in Vogue Knitting, I guess a few months ago, and fell in love with it. Had to have it, but it's very complex, but I love that I can do that because I put in the hard work, you know, 15 years ago to learn how to knit, and it was really hard at first. I made some really ugly things, and I dropped a lot of stitches, and I added a lot of stitches and all that stuff, but it was worth it. And so I feel the same way with cross stitch, you know. I think it has a lower, it's easier to get into cross stitch because there's a variety of patterns suited to different skill sets. You won't catch me attempting some full coverage dimensions project or something like that. Not now. I'm sticking to country cottage needleworks and you know, some of these other kind of cuter things, which is what I like anyway, so I'm fine with that. I'm not into really those like full coverage things or things with like a lot of back stitching and stuff. But I don't know. I don't get why people don't want to learn something so cool, you know? They don't want to be a part of the history of this craft that has spanned hundreds and hundreds of years of women, you know, in all cultures, creating beautiful items for their families, adorning themselves with things, you know, making the best out of what they had. I think about these women who were out on the frontier, and, you know, they didn't have all these beautiful colors that we have to work with. I mean, how excited would they be to see our stash of DMC? You know, they would be over the moon. They worked with what they had, but they made beautiful things. And, you know, women in Victorian England used to do embroidery with their own hair. I mean, come on, guys. You know, women in China have been embroidering slippers for centuries. So whenever I do these kinds of things, I feel connected to my ancestors. I feel connected to the past, and I feel like I'm preserving something important, a piece of history. And, you know, a lot of times history that was primarily accomplished by women gets forgotten because of the way that society works. And this is important stuff. I mean, lovebirds isn't important, but it is important, you know. It's part of something important. So sorry about my soapbox. I wish more women would craft, and men. I mean, hey, I taught my husband to knit and crochet, and he's pretty good. He's a pretty good knitter, and he used to cross stitch when he was younger. He has some bookmarks that he made that his mom had him make when he was younger, so I think that's cute. But anyway, this is Lovebirds by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I am probably like maybe almost 3/4 of the way done. So I'll finish this up probably this week, hopefully. It was a quick little stitch. I just wanted to do a project alongside with her, but you know, I started it and she hasn't really started it, and I'm not gonna keep waiting around and let it go to waste because it's really nice. I love the fabric. What I like working on with that one is I really like the fabric. It's called flax. It's a 32 count. I'm pretty sure it's a linen, but I love it. It's really soft in like a weird kind of crunchy way. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's that. Okay, new start. This is my WIP that I'm working on right now. I should have taken it out of the bag. To have and to hold. So this is a cute little wedding pattern, and I am making it for my sister who is getting married. Let's see, it's supposed to go this way, I think. No, this way. I'm like, what am I doing here? Obviously, I don't have very much done on it, but I'm working on this. My sister's getting married next month. And so this was back ordered on I got it on 123 Stitch. It was back ordered, and finally it came back in stock, and so they shipped it to me. So I'm going to be devoting a fair amount of my time to that one over the next few weeks. I'm hoping I could get it done in a couple of weeks. It seems like it's going to stitch up pretty fast. It's not very big, and so I wanted to have that, to give that to them for their wedding. Her bridal shower was yesterday, and I kind of got her practical gift, and then I wanted to get her do something for her that was kind of from the heart for her actual wedding. So I hope she doesn't watch this video. That's why I am on Instagram, guys, for my stitching. It's ambermichellehandstitched. I'll put that in the description below, and I'd love it if you would follow me. But that's part of why on my Instagram I am not at the moment advertising that I am doing Flosstube, because a lot of people who I know follow my stitching Instagram and my personal one, and I know it, it'll like suggest it to people. I don't think my sister follows me on Instagram on there, so I just don't want her to find out. It's a secret. But afterwards I'll probably start saying, hey, Flosstube number whatever 6 is up. I'm sure I'll be at 6 by that time, hopefully. No, I will. I'm gonna try to do them every week. Last week I did it on Monday. This week I'm trying it on Sunday because it took forever to upload. So yeah, so I wanted to show you a work in progress that I've been working on very sporadically over the last few months. I started this in the winter with knitting, and I did it, this is actually just garter stitch, so it's the simplest kind of knitting stitch that there is, but I'm doing it on size, I think these are size 1 or size 0 needles, and it's going to be like a shawl. And what I may do, I'm making it in a triangle, so I started at the bottom and I'm expanding it out. What I may do is, once it's long enough, I saw this, it was a simple kind of shawl, and they were talking about traditional shawls that were made for knitting, and I forget what culture, I think Danish culture, and they would have real long strings at the bottom here that you would then tie around to keep it in place, like a working shawl that you would wear all day long to keep you warm while you were working. And so I liked that idea of making something in that kind of shape with the ties. And what I may do is even put like a sleeve on it or something, and kind of put a panels here on the side to even make it more like a sweater. It's kind of hard to explain, but we'll see once I get there. I'm making it in, this is Madelinetosh yarn. I forget what this color here is. I got it at a store in Goshen, Indiana, when I was up there visiting my in-laws. And then I ordered some more thinking I was ordering the same color, and actually I ordered like the darker version. It has some of the same variations, but darker. And I think it's called Midnight something. But I've been working with that. I love Madelinetosh yarn. Oh, it's so pretty. But like a lot of knitters know, it's kind of like the unicorn. It's hard for local stores to keep it in stock. So yeah, I got it off of the internet, I'm pretty sure, on webs.com. But I love this. This is my project, my mindless project. So when I feel like knitting, which during the warmer months, and we're solidly in the warmer months here in San Antonio. During the warmer months, I don't feel like knitting that much. When I get the urge, I'll take it out and just work on it while I'm watching TV or reading or something. And I don't really have to look at it. I have some other projects that are kind of in progress with knitting, but usually I get on my knitting kick around September and start doing Christmas. And I make every year, everyone from my family a knitted gift. And last year I made Fair Isle stockings, and that took a lot out of me. So the idea of knitting something where I have to pay attention to it was kind of like, ugh, no thanks. So I started working on this, and I love it, and it's super soft. it's really just fun to just touch. I love to just go to the yarn store and just touch all the yarn, and I always bring a lot home with me. One day I'll have to show you my yarn stash, but I always pick yarn based on how it feels to touch it, and I love natural fibers, and if it's not comfy on my hands, then I won't buy it. And comfy for me is different for a lot of people. It doesn't necessarily have to be soft. It could be like a scratching yarn, but I want it to be that solid, natural kind of feeling. Hard to explain. Anyway, it's a knitting thing. So a little bit more haul. This is some knitting haul. I got my latest copy of Vogue Knitting. I subscribe, so that's exciting for me. Got some good stuff in here. I was reading an article about natural undyed wools, and then about this sheep run in Idaho, and I'm actually going to visit Idaho in May, so I was like, oh, I wonder if they do the sheep run in May, but no, it's in the fall, so darn, but I'm excited about that. Okay, I have a lot of haul, cross stitch haul this week. So first things first, I decided to buy my LNS out of all of their Santa's Village. So I know that I want to do this project. I saw it on the wall there, done up in 3 groups of 4 and framed really cute, and I fell in love with it. It's so adorable. I knew from the moment I saw it that I had to do it. I want that for Christmas decorating. But the idea of buying all the stuff and kitting up that whole project was a little overwhelming to me at the time because I was buying some other stuff. So I ended up just buying all the patterns this last time with all the buttons. So I have all of them. Santa's Village. Country Cottage Needleworks. Love it. I love these little bags too. There's something very tactile about these little bags. I kind of feel bad about all the plastic, but then I love the bags, so I'm like, So I got all the little buttons, I got all the little houses, and I don't know how I'm going to lay them out yet, but I am going to do it, stitch it all as one piece, and probably have my brother-in-law semi-professionally frame it. Because I want it for Christmas, and I didn't buy the fabric because I feel like I need to finish up some other things that I've bought recently first, because I do have several projects kitted up that I really want to finish before I go ahead and do that. But I finally got my LNS. Finally got the Afternoon in Paris by Country Cottage Needleworks that I had ordered. They were out of stock, and they were waiting to place an order until they had enough interest in some different stuff. So I thought about buying it on 1-2-3 Stitch, but nah, just support my LNS, which is Stitches from the Heart here in San Antonio. So I waited, and they got it in. Yay! And I'm excited. I'm really excited to do this. I got it kitted. They put all the stuff for your kit in this cute little bag. It's on Star Sapphire 32 count linen. And I love Paris. So I have been to Paris only once in my life. When I was in college, I studied abroad in Seville, Spain, and I got to travel around a lot. My dream since I was a little girl was to go to France, specifically Paris. I always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower. And I even so our house burned down when I was in, right before 9th grade, while we were on vacation, actually. So, side story, but we had a house fire. We got to redecorate our room, and I really wanted to redecorate it in the French country style. That's what I was into. So, I've always loved all things French. I know Nancy from Addicted Sisters loves French too. So, anyway, I got the chance when I was studying abroad to travel around quite a bit, and I saw a lot of the European cities and places that I had always wanted to see. Some of them were, very beautiful. I really enjoyed them. Some of them were a little disappointing. Paris was the only place that I went that was exactly like I pictured it. it was just the same as I wanted it to be. It was so French. It was so French like I thought French was French. I mean, it was perfect. And beautiful, beautiful city. Huge, huge swath of area in that city that's got that older, very European feel, not super overly modern, traditional French looking buildings and things like that, which I really loved. So you felt like you were just lost and you were in Paris, and it was the Paris of your dreams. So I loved Paris. I am excited because this fall I'm going back with my husband. I'm going to show him around, and we're psyched. But yeah, I wanted to do afternoon in Paris to kind of commemorate my love for Paris. And I also really want to do a cross stitch project for every big European city that I visit, and put them with, we have a wall, we call it our travel wall, and it has framed pictures of us in each of the places that we've traveled together as a couple. And so I'd like to have, cross-stitched little versions of the cities that we loved on our travels and things like that. That may be a big ambition with all this other stuff that I've got, as you can see, because I've got a fair amount of haul, and I'm going to go through a couple more things for you. So something else I bought last week, the farmer's daughter. This may seem a little bit out of character for me because I'm not real country, but I love this cow. I love the cow and the chicken and the little girl and the little house. It's too cute. I think it was Night Owl Stitcher who was doing this one that I saw, and I should change the colors up a little bit, I'm pretty sure, and I loved it. I loved what she did with it. I fell in love, and I had to get the pattern. So I'm going to be doing that at some point. I think I'm going to take the farmer's daughter off and just not do the words, or I might replace the words with something else, something cute and maybe meaningful for me. I'm not a farmer's daughter. I am a landscaper's daughter, and my dad does grow trees and has a tree farm. So the arborist's daughter? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that at some point. So, and that's by Little House Needleworks. I'm really into these French, Italian cross stitch designers that I found on 123 Stitch, and I've seen some other people doing some of their work. But this is Tralala. I think they're French. Looks like French on the back here. And this is let's see if I'll butcher it. Rouleau en hiver. Trailer in the winter is what it means. So it's this cute little girl, and she's got this adorable little shabby chic trailer and a snowman, and that's where she lives, and it's wintertime. I'm going to make this for my mom, I think. It looks like her. It looks exactly like her. And she would totally have a cute little trailer. Just like that. So I'm going to make that for her at some point. Maybe for Christmas this year. And this I got to make for my husband. This is cuore e batticuore. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I fell in love with all their little patterns, and I wanted to buy them all. But, I can't be buying all this stuff. I knew 123 Stitch was going to be a problem for me. I really want to support my local LNS. It's just so easy to go on 123 Stitch and just click and buy. So I'm like, yeah. And I don't think they don't carry this brand that I know of. If I'm wrong, and you guys know, correct me. But this is called 100% Puro Amore. So it says, love is knitting for you. I don't know if I'm going to do the words. I'm not huge on words, but it's so me and Daniel. So we have this little, you know how when you're a couple, you talk to each other in weird voices a lot. So we have this one set of characters that we do called Mr. and Mrs. Gnome. This may be way too much information, but they have really high-pitched little voices and Irish accents. And I don't know why, but sometimes we'll talk to each other as Mr. and Mrs. Gnome. And these little characters look like gnomes to me with their little pointy hats. And look, she's knitting him stuff, and she's knitted stuff for the whole, she's just knitted a ton of stuff, and the little sheep is knitting. Everybody's knitting. And that's me. This is me in the wintertime. And yes, love is knitting for you, because if I love you and I knit you something, it means I love you a whole lot. Because first of all, it's a lot of work. And second of all, I don't want to give things away if I really like them when I make them. So if I give it to you, it means I really love you. My love language is gifts. So yeah, so that's what I got this week. This video is already 44 minutes long. Guys, I'm really sorry. For those of you who stuck it through, thank you. For those of you who didn't, I understand. I did want to give you a little nutrition tip before I go. So my nutrition tip today is to explain to you a little bit about your immune system. So did you know that 70% of your immune system actually lives in your gut? It's not just a separate entity. So your immune system is 70% lives in your gut, and what's in your gut are all these little bacteria, and they're called your microbiome. And so your microbiome needs to be really abundant and full of lots of bacteria, and they need to have good bacteria in there and in the good quantities and the right balance for you to be healthy. Bacteria are not always a bad thing. So you actually want to have a lot of bacteria in your gut. Did you know that you have more bacteria in your microbiome than you have cells in your entire body? And then there are stars in the galaxy. So your microbiome is actually connected to your brain by a nerve called your vagus nerve. So it has a direct impact on your thoughts and emotions, feelings, things like that, and also food cravings. So if your microbiome is out of whack, it can cause a lot of issues. A lot of the most recent research shows that your microbiome is imbalances in that are behind many of the degenerative diseases, many of the problems with weight, and all kinds of things. So it's a really important issue. If you want to learn more about your microbiome, you can look on my website. I've got a lot of articles on the gut. So, but you should pay attention to your gut. Even if you don't think you have gut issues, you may have gut issues. So that is my nutrition tip for today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week, hopefully finishing some of these projects. All right, bye-bye.